in July of 2013, I took a 4,148-mile trip over the course of 16 days. We went through 14 states on our way. We enjoyed stopping at many places along our trip, but one of those in particular was the Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum in Birmingham, Alabama. As a motorcycle enthusiast, if you have not been to the Barber Museum, you really need to make a point to get there. It's an amazing place, really well done, and they have more than 700 vintage and current model motorcycles on display. Along with seeing all the great motorcycles and other vintage race cars they have at the Barber Museum, we actually got to meet the owner of the place, Geroge Barber. Turns out he was walking around the floor, and my friend Wayne bumped into him and brought him over and introduced myself to him, and he said, "Hi, I'm Geroge Barber," and I kind of went, "The guy that owns this place?" And he said, "Yep, that's me." So we started up a conversation, and he was gracious enough to do a little video with us that you're going to see here in a second. So we're fortunate here to have run into Geroge Barber, the owner of this wonderful museum, the Barber Motorsports Museum here. We just started looking at it, but we really love the place so far. I'm just having a ball so far.
There's a lot to see.
There is. I've wanted to come here for a long time, actually, and we finally decided to work it in. So.
Right.
But if you can, just you said you started this place by racing Porsches for quite a while?
Yeah, I raced Porsches as a kid back in the 60s for about 10, 11 years. And once you get that in your system, you can't get it out. And it just went on from there. And oh gosh, I guess it started with our truck rebuild facility. I was in the milk business, and we rebuilt our trucks. And I started to unwind that facility, and we started to do some cars. Cars didn't work very well because these were big wrench, big hammers guys, and they didn't understand perfection. So we stopped, and the guy that was doing it for me was a motorcycle enthusiast, Dave Hooker. He said, "Let me do a bike or two." And I said, "Oh, okay." So he did a couple of them, he gave me a couple of them, we bought a couple of them, and we got to about maybe 100 bikes. And I thought, you know, with a little luck, I can put together the best motorcycle collection in the world. And that helped the city. I'd have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Help the city and help the state. So here we are, 1,700 bikes later.
Wow, 1,700.
Wow.
I read that you have about 600 on display at any one time?
600 or 700,
roughly?
and then another probably, well, 600, 700 too, that are ready to go on display that we rotate. And then another couple hundred in parts and pieces and stuff that we're waiting to restore.
Wow. Now, how do you acquire all of the pieces from the museum?
Auctions, collections, donations, you name it. Barn finds, a little bit.
Did you get to drive every one of these?
Yeah, pretty much.
No
Some
kidding.
of the ones, though, I don't want to drive because when you do, you've got to come in, and it takes 2 days to get the dust off of them and get the stuff off of them. Everything in the museum will run within an hour.
Wow.
Now, the 109 Lotus Formula One car will not, because Honda has not given us the engine. And there's also a 109 up on the shelf when you come in. Those two will not run, obviously. Obviously, the wooden Mercedes replica will not run, but everything in the museum will run within an hour.
Wow.
Well, the museum quickly is 144,000 square feet. We do everything here except chrome plate. I can build a motorcycle from scratch.
Wow.
And we do sometimes. So many of our parts are made out of unobtainium that we have to make them.
Let's see.
Let's see what else I can tell you about it. You just have to walk around and see
Yeah.
and look.
Well,
you,
absolutely.
You did tell us that that cycle was in the
Yeah.
Wild Wild West. Is there any
Yeah,
others in
that
this
cycle's
place?
Wild Wild West. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and a lot of them, particularly some of the racers are Formula One Grand Prix winners and Daytona winners. We've got a winner for every decade at Daytona. And when the museum's quiet at night or early in the morning when you come, you can walk by some of these bikes and they'll talk to you.
Oh, you
Oh,
get the
yeah.
vibes. Oh, nice.
Particularly some of these ones, you know, that have world championship riders that have ridden and won world championships. And
You
they'll
see a
talk to
passion.
you.
You see a passion.
John Surtees Ferrari will talk to you. Because, you know, it's been around the world. How many times, I don't know. And we've sent it back to the Ferrari factory several times because they wanted to display it. It's been to Goodwood several times. And then it's been around the world for Grand Prix races. That won the world championship for it. So you get over there and be real still and you'll hear it.
Wow.
I believe you.
It'll talk to you.
That's cool. Well, I in particular found the Morbidelli exhibit down there pretty interesting. I really didn't know
Yeah.
much about them, and I was reading about all of how it got started and how all the races, championships that they won, and then
Fantastic too. You know, for an individual, not a factory team, to build his own bikes and to win national championships is spectacular.
yeah.
He's a spectacular guy. He really is.
Yeah.
He built that 8-cylinder bike that you
That
see.
I was impressed with that too. I thought,
It's
Yeah, a
huge.
little bitty 8-cylinder. Now he's
Yeah.
working on a 12-cylinder.
Oh.
And I don't know whether he'll finish it or not. We're all getting old. But he's a wonderful individual. And interesting, the display you see is the display that he wanted me to do, and it's exactly like the display he has in his museum in Pesaro.
Wow.
And he wanted his family to feel comfortable when they came here to find the display exactly like it was at home.
Oh, wow.
So there are only 2 of those bikes that you see. One's here and one's in
oh
Pesaro.
wow.
So we're absolutely pleased to have that collection.
This is really nice. We have a gorgeous place.
Well, thank you.